Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're doing a video, and today will be, I don't know, this is a tentative thing, but my username used to be Stevie Eevee, and I just recently changed it to High Impact Yu-Gi-Oh! Because if I actually do ever have this channel take off very well, I wanted to make this into something that's not Pokemon related that would technically lose interest, because although it's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Channel, it ends up having a Pokemon name. So right now I'm High Impact Yu-Gi-Oh! For those of you guys who would be interested in this deck profile, we're doing a deck profile on Lightsworn. So I rebuilt this deck, I think pretty recent. I mean, I've had it for a while now. It's just I've recently been interested in updating what I thought would be a good deck list for this. So without further ado, here we go. For our hand traps, we're running 3 of Valor, we're running 3 of Ash, we're running 2 of Ghost Ogre. And I honestly feel that this is a hand trap too, but 2 of Damage Juggler. I think that's a decent amount of hand traps anyways. And then there's a couple more at the very end. You'll probably know which ones they are. For the clowns, we only run 1 of each of these guys. I think Damage Juggler is too good not to run, and we're, spoiler alert, running a Shadal variant of the Lightsworn deck. So we're running 1 copy of the Windy, 1 copy of the Hedgehog, 2 copies of Squamata, 1 copy of Falco, and 2 copies of Hedgehog, which some people might think is a little bit too much, but when you're running cards like, I want to say it's Desires, it's best to not lose your Shadal pieces so quickly. So we're running 3 of Lumina for the Lightsworn engine, 3 of Raiden, 1 copy of Growth. I really enjoy that card because it gives you a little bit more mills on top of the mills that you already have. 1 copy of Wolf. 1 copy of Lila. Don't mind that noise, that was just something else. 1 copy of Felice. I enjoy that card too, because if you mill off of anything, it just helps. 1 copy of Judgment Dragon for one of the big monsters, just to randomly run. 2 Chaos Dragon Lavenier. 1 Zephyros the Elite, and 1 copy of Starliege Seafort. So that's the monsters. Onto the spells, we have 3 copies of Fusion. You draw this, it really gets you to where you need to be. 2 copies of the Quick Play El Shadal Fusion. I like that card being at 2, not at 3. If it does have an issue, I would cut it down to maybe 1. 3 of Desires. That's the reason why I'm running a decent amount of Shadals, because you don't want to actually see the Shadal monsters, or you don't want to see less Shadals and not the things that you need for the most point, because if you lose your Shadals, the fusions can be dead sometimes. 2 Popper Up, it's a good draw card. Not many people are actually running. 3 copies of Charge of the Light Brigade. 1 of Mind Control, since we have 1, we might as well use the 1. 1 of Slash Draw. A lot of people might not like this card, but I think it's good, especially if you're going second. Your opponent floods the board. It's a good way to out a negation. 1 of Monster Reborn, God card. 1 of Galaxy Cyclone, it's an amazing graveyard card. Speaking of graveyard cards, 1 Metaphors Fusion. 1 copy of Card Destruction. 1 of Foolish Burial, just a really good card. 1 of Pot of Adverse. And of the trap cards, we're running 2 copies of Lost Wind, because I think that's a very good card to run right now. Any graveyard effect that essentially resets itself, always a very good card. And of our final hand traps, I think we're running at least about, I'd say, 12 plus hand traps. 3 of Infinite Impermanence, because we're going to start our game usually by trying to stop them, because we're going second deck. And our goal then is to try and play out of their game, which usually can happen fairly easy, because you usually open a decent amount of hand traps to try and stop them. So for our extra deck, we run 3 of Construct. 1 of Winda. I only like 1 of Winda right now, because I don't feel that it's really needed to run more than 1. 2 of Minerva. Get your mills going. 1 of Dante. Just more mills. 1 of Hope Harbinger, since we're running so many 8s. Construct's 8. 11 Years 8. And I believe Judgment Dragon is also 8, so you can make that fairly easy with deck. 1 copy of Michael. 1 copy of TG Wonder Magician. A card that is used to make a specific card you'll be seeing in a short time. 1 of Omega, just an amazing card that you can make off of TG Wonder Magician. one copy of Curious, and one copy of one of our biggest and best things that we've gotten recently. A little bit too late, but better than not. Better to have it than not. Heli Fibrax or Needle Fiber, whatever the hell you want to call it. One copy of Phoenix to out your spell and traps that your opponent has, and one of your OTK card, which is Boral Sword. Recently, I've changed the deck out quite a bit, and it has, I don't know how it'll do, because our format has been canceled for the foreseeable future for now. But I'll tell you right now that I think that the deck would be fun to play. I don't really know one way or the other, but I do think that in a competitive atmosphere it probably would do semi-decent. I don't know, because I still want to play Lightsworns before the end of the year. I do want to play it in one regional, so who knows, maybe we'll do well. If we don't do well, that's not that big of a deal, but I think that it's an enjoyable deck to play. If you could play any deck right now, I think Lightsworns is probably one of the funnest decks to play, because there's so many things that you can do with it. There's so many options to go about it. There's Shaddolls, there's Dangers, just so many options. But in the meantime, I thank you guys for watching my video, and look forward to hopefully a new deck profile that we'll be doing. And as weird as this is to say, high impact Yu-Gi-Oh! Out. See you guys later.